Known in the UK as the Jumbo High Cap, this .25 sub 12 foot-pound PCP is also known as the Jumbo Dazzle C in other parts of the world, and the C stands for camouflage. It's made by Kral, a Turkish company based in Konya, and it's been in existence since 1988, so almost 35 years. Now, working from within their 18,000 square metre factory, the company relies on a combination of high-tech and the traditional gun-making skills of a 250 strong workforce to manufacture and assemble all the component parts, including barrels, to create their air rifles, shotguns and blank firing pistols, and they distribute those guns to over 40 countries. So that's enough about the company. Let's talk about the gun. So before I crack on with this review, I really do need to give a big shout out and a thank you to the guys at the GunLocker. Now, although their name is similar to ours, they are a completely independent business. It's a dealership that's based in Stafford, and yeah, this is their rifle. They've lent it to me to review. It's for sale through them as well, and what I'll do is within the description I'll drop a link to their page on our website and also to their website, so if you are interested in buying this gun, please contact them directly. I'm also extremely pleased to be able to announce that they will be supplying me with more guns in the future so that I can add more content to our channel, and that's a great sense of relief for me, because it takes the pressure off trying to find more rifles to review, and they have a massive selection there, so I'm not limited to a particular brand. They have both new and pre-owned rifles, and I intend to do reviews not just on the new but also the old, so that we do have that comparison. And it's important with regards to build quality, for example. You know, do these new rifles match up to the old ones? In a similar vein as to, you know, me setting the bar with the HW77K. So it's a really big boost for the channel, and for that, again, thank you very much to the guys at GunLocker. Right, let's talk facts and figures. So what we have in front of us here is Kral Arms' Jumbo High Cap, and in other parts of the world it's known as the Dazzle C, C meaning camouflage. It is available in three calibers, .177, .22 and .25, and that's for both FAC full power and sub 12 foot-pound. It weighs in at 3.4 kilograms, so it's not a particularly heavy rifle. Okay, and that's unscoped, and it is between 102 and 110 centimeters long. Now, if we work from the butt to the muzzle, what we have on the back here is Kral's Tactical Stock 1, and the nice thing about this is that it's foldable. You simply press this button in and in she goes, and she wraps right around to the frame. The nice thing about that is obviously it shortens the length of the rifle in transport, so it makes it a little bit easier to lug around. And the reason why the rifle is between 102 and 110 centimeters long is that if you depress this sliding catch, you can then extend the butt to your preferred distance, and that takes the reach from 350 millimeters to 430 millimeters. So you've got plenty of adjustment there. You also have an adjustable cheek piece, and there is a button here which if you depress or release it, and you can move it up and down, and there's 20 millimeters of movement there. So again, ample movement to make that rifle fit snugly. The last couple of points with this butt is that it has a partial bag rider and it's got quite a long cutout to accommodate a shoulder strap. So it's a nice, compact, rugged unit. As we move forward, we've got an AR-15 style rubberized pistol grip, which is really quite comfortable. I mean, it's a very commonplace pistol grip, and it suits both large hands and small hands. And being completely ambidextrous, it's good for both left-handers and right-handers. Further forward, we have a nickel-plated blade on post trigger, and that's housed within an all-in-one cast frame and trigger guard. And then if you look at the frame itself, on the right hand side of the frame you have the cocking lever, you have the power adjuster, and you have the manometer. The cocking lever is fixed to the right hand side, so you can't swing it over to the left. The loading port, which is slightly forward of centre, is wide enough to accommodate, and deep enough, importantly deep enough, to accommodate the rotary magazines and the single shot tray easily. And then on the left side of the frame, I'm going to try and get this off now, you have the filling port. Okay, and again that's a quick release fast fill connector that just simply snaps onto that and you can pull it back off again. Protected by a rubberized black cap, so that keeps it nice and clean. Now, on top of the frame we have a dual purpose Picatinny rail, and that allows both 11mm mounts and 22mm mounts to be fitted easily. And then underneath the frame we have a 230mm weaver rail, which gives you plenty of scope to put your bipod on and any other accessories that you like. And I like the fact that it's so long, because you can put that bipod exactly where you want it. Now, moving forward, we have this really nicely camouflaged bottle, and that has a valve, which means to say that you can interchange that with another spare bottle and there's no loss of air. So really, if you're going out on the field, you then have not just the 500 cc's of air, but you effectively have 1000 cc's of air, and that's a large shot count. And then finally the barrel. So the barrel is shrouded, it's 580mm long, and when I looked in the barrel it has 12 lands and grooves cut within the rifle in, but I'm going to talk about the barrel a little bit more in the accuracy test. And last but not least, we have the cap here on the end of the barrel that actually protects a 1/2 inch UNF thread on which you can screw any moderator which you may have around. So that's it as regards facts and figures. I think I've just about covered everything briefly. Now on to the fun part of giving the rifle some star ratings, and we'll start with the accuracy test. Right, accuracy. Well, outside 30 meters, weather is okay, it is cool out there but not freezing, and what can I say, I'm using Air Arms Diablo Fields .25, and these are 25.4 grain pellets, so they're a bit of a lump that's flying through the air. But the nice thing about them is that they are stable, and this thing shoots like a laser. It is basically pellet on pellet on pellet. I've really enjoyed shooting this rifle, so much so that, again, here's another apology, I got a little bit cocky, but hey, it's just me having a bit of fun. Anyway, enjoy the footage and I'll catch you back inside afterwards and we'll have a chat. Hi guys, I'm here with the Kral Jumbo High Cap .25 caliber, again out at 30 yards, bit of a distance. There is quite a drop on this, but it's so accurate, it's incredible. See how we go. So again, I'm going to use a paper target first on the left hand side, and then I'll go for the spinners on the right. The mag It's only a 10-shot mag, so getting my head around using that as opposed to sort of a 14 to 17 mag, and also you guys know that I like springers, so I just have to get my head around this a little bit, but yeah, it's an incredible gun. So basically just cock the rifle, slip it in, she's ready to go. Let's see how we do. So this is going to be bottom left hand target. So that was touching the red cross. We're going to go bottom right hand target. Again touching the cross. Top right hand target. Ooh. Less than a quarter of an inch off the cross. Top left hand target. That's touching the cross. Center target. Just touching the cross, and then we'll do some spinners. So let's see what we're going to go for. Let's go top left on the X. Whoa, that's a nice shot. And let's go top middle. And again, top right. Oh, now this is only presenting me with half a target, so let's see if I can do something with this. Whoa! I amaze myself sometimes. Let's go for the middle target. That was a hit. But it didn't spin it because it was right in the center. And last one. Let's go for the bottom. Bottom middle. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So, accuracy, what would I give this? It's like a laser, to be honest. I'm going to have to give it at least 4.5, possibly 5 stars. Really, really do like this rifle. Yeah, and I prefer springers, but what can I say? Nice gun. So we're back inside, and there you have it. What a fantastic gun to shoot. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I got a little bit carried away, so apologies, but I tend to do that when I'm having fun shooting a rifle. You know, that big kid in me does come out. But I wanted to put into perspective how accurate this rifle is. As I said, we're out at 30 meters, okay, and it was near on perfect conditions. It was cold, but you know, we didn't have any real crosswinds to deal with or anything like that. But I don't know whether you can see this. Down here I've put 2 pellets side by side, and the distance from the left edge to the right edge is 13 millimeters or thereabouts. The group, if you were to measure the distance from this one here to this one there, or even to this one there, center of each of those shots, in fact any of them, the group covers 8 millimeters in diameter. 8 millimeters. That's half a 5-penny piece. That's less than these 2 pellets that are being butted up side on side. pellet on pellet accuracy at 30 meters. What a beautiful, beautiful gun. And I made a point in the facts and figures stating that this rifle's unregulated. And personally, I don't think it needs to be. But what I have noticed, because I was looking at this in a little bit more detail, just trying to find out, you know, maybe some secrets, I don't know, what makes a gun shoot so well. And I put a camera in the end of the barrel. Now I'm going to impose an image, and what you're going to see in that image is the rifling at the muzzle end of this barrel. And what you can see within the lands, that's the raised part of the groove of the rifling, are some evenly spaced cuts that go across the face of the lands. And they're too evenly spaced to be a fault in the machining or you know, in the cutting of those grooves. They're there for a reason. Now, I've not spoken to Kral, and this is my assumption, but I'm assuming that what those grooves do is actually release a little bit of back pressure on the pellet as it's travelling through the barrel. And releasing that back pressure, I'm assuming that it helps to stabilise the pellet in flight. Now, if anybody knows any different, I would love to hear from you, because this is only my assumption. But that release of pressure is in effect doing a similar sort of job as what a regulator does. And I think it's that. I think it's just, it's very clever. Whoever's done this is, you know, they've obviously thought about it. And Kral, you know, they just produce incredibly accurate rifles. But they've done a superb job with this, an absolutely superb job with this, and I would love to try the FAC version of this, the full power one. You could certainly have some fun at some distance, for sure, for sure. So with regards to ratings, I said on the footage 4.5 to 5 stars. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. Because I haven't had a chance to give it a proper test. In all honesty, I know I really enjoyed shooting this, and I'm going to take it out again, maybe a couple more times actually, but I only put 2 magazines through this prior to shooting that. That's all I did. Yeah, what an incredible gun. So, aesthetics. Right, straight off the bat, I'm giving this rifle 4 out of 5 stars. Now, you guys, if you've watched my previous review on the HW77K, you'll know that I like traditional style rifles with a nice wooden stock. And this is not that. You know, it is a tactical style rifle. It is plastic, it is metal, it is skeletal in its design, in its appearance. But it works. You know, it does work. And whether, obviously this is my personal opinion, but whether that's to do with the blend of the camo and the black, whether I would, you know, I'd like it as much if it was just pure black. I don't know if I would, to be honest. I think there'd have to be some changes. But in its current format, yes, I like it. And when I went to the theGunLocker to pick the rifle up, I saw it on the shelf and it stood out. Unlike other PCPs that are out there that, you know, they just kind of blend into the background, this one didn't. For me, honestly, I picked it up and I was excited to give it a go. So that can only be a good thing. Now, there is a little bit of disagreement between myself and my teammates, in that, now I like the fact that this bottle has got a brass valve connector fitted to it, but, and this is a point that's been made out by the team, and I've got to kind of agree, if I turn this rifle around and you have a look, the connector is brass, but the manometer, the power adjuster and the trigger, get my teeth in, are either nickel plated, chrome or steel. So you've got this mix of different metals or colours of metals, and it would have been a really, really nice touch, in my opinion, if the manometer, the power adjuster and the trigger all went along the lines of the brass finish. I think that would suit the camo pattern more, and maybe if it was all pure black, then it would all tend towards the silver chromed or steel, polished steel finish. So yeah, that little bit of mix and match has just maybe dropped it a mark, but you know, in all honesty, it's a good looking thing. It you know, you can, I suppose, imagine yourself as that. People refer to them as snipers, marksmen, whatever you want to call it. It plays a part. The fact that it's camouflaged, obviously that's always handy if you're out in the field. And yeah, do I like it? Yes, I do. That's why I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. So let's talk about build quality. Right, I've rated the rifle 4 out of 5 stars, and I've done that because it has a robustness to it, a nice solid frame. It has a, you know, good quality stock, but it also has other features that, such as the barrel. You know, I mentioned that within the accuracy test part of the review. The designers, when they constructed the barrel, have obviously looked into it in great detail, and rather than fitting a regulator which could cause inherent problems, they've opted, possibly, and again this is my assumption, to that series of cuts within the lands of the rifling, in my mind possibly to reduce that back pressure with behind the pellet to stabilize it in flight. So anything else with regards to its build quality, I mean, I've spoken to a gunsmith and I've asked him, has he had any issues with the rifle or with this type of rifle, and he said no. He said they're really easy to work on, there's hardly anything that goes wrong with them. When I asked him his opinion, he said, oh, it's up there, it's right up there. The one thing, surprisingly, that he mentioned was the point where the shroud meets the frame, where my finger is here. And what he doesn't like about this is the fact that the shroud isn't tapered in to the exact same width as the frame, so you have a sharp edge. That was the only thing that this gunsmith actually mentioned about this rifle, and I was quite shocked at that, because he graded it 4 out of 5 stars purely on this. Now in my mind that would have taken it to 4.5, maybe, you know, solid 5 out of 5 stars. Pardon my French, by the way, and I don't mean to upset French people. Yeah, I don't know, I suppose time will tell, as you know it does with any product, but everything worked for me. You know, I haven't come across any issues at all. The cocking mechanism is, you know, it's firm, but it's positive. You know when that pellet has been indexed properly. It looks like the stock can take some hammer. The frame can take some hammer, it's all aluminium. You know, the pistol grip, well, there's nothing to fall out with there. Maybe, you know, if you were to take a tumble with the rifle, I do believe that this form of rifle with the free floating barrel is vulnerable. You know, it's vulnerable to being twisted or bent. But that's me trying to find fault with it, as opposed to it actually showing faults, if you know what I mean. And even down to, you know, the rotary magazine. Now, I'm not a great fan of these, I've got to say. And the reason why I say that is because, and you'll not see this, but I've just completed a review that is private, it's not going to go out. And the reason why it's not going out is because it's going directly to the manufacturer. And I'm hoping that they, you know, look at that review in a constructive frame of mind and actually do the remedies that are suggested to that particular rifle. Now, one point within that, and it's not, I will say now, it's not Kral. But one thing that I didn't like is that they've got similar rotary mags to this, and although this one here is really quite robust, it's kind of strengthened up because of the size of the pellet, so it's heavier gauge plastic. On the other smaller gauges, the face of the rotary magazine had already fractured at the point where the metal pin protrudes to the front edge of the clear plastic cover. And also they're known for not indexing pellets properly. But what I will say about this .25 caliber is that I have come across no issues with that whatsoever, and the rifle shoots like a laser beam. It's just so accurate. So maybe, you know, these magazines, this type of magazine is good for the larger caliber, but maybe a little bit too weak for the smaller calibers. With regards to anything else on the rifle, yeah, it just all seems to perform nicely. So 4 out of 5 stars for build quality, because of its robustness, because of the fact that it's extremely accurate. It's been engineered in a way that it doesn't need a regulator. I think that's important. Yeah, there's not a lot to go wrong with it really. So 4 out of 5 stars. Right, so let's talk about ergonomics. This is going to be no surprise. I've actually rated this 4 out of 5 stars, and I think what you're going to notice now is this trend of 4 out of 5 stars basically across the range. As I've said before in my previous video, ergonomics is the design of a product to suit the end user, not necessarily to suit the end function. And this rifle has a lot of adjustability inbuilt. So what I mean by that is, take a look at the stock. So this is Kral's Tactical 1 stock. And if you depress this lever at the bottom, you can extend it. And what that does is it extends the reach of the butt to the trigger excuse me, from 350mm to 430mm, and it's easy to adjust. You don't need any Allen keys, you don't need any other tools. It's just a simple press and, you know, adjust, which is fantastic. Although one thing that I would say is a little bit strange is that it would have been better if the catch was reversed, because what you have to do is squeeze the front of this lever where it would lend itself better to squeezing the back. So it's like a pistol grip then, you know, and by pressing that it would release the catch, and then you could take it out further. You've just got more of a grip on the back here than you have on the front. Saying that, it still works. And with regards to the comb, by pressing this button here, you know, you can raise that up and down easily. Again, you don't need any tools, and that gives you an additional 20 millimeters of play, so you can get that shoulder fit perfect and the eye alignment perfect. That's nice. I like the fact as well that the stock is foldable, you know, so it makes it kind of easier to transport, although in all honesty it comes with a very good hard case, and with a rifle of this sort I'd rather transport it in the case, you know, just protect it as much as I can. But that's the stock out of the way. With regards to the pistol grip, well, this pistol grip has been in existence for a long time now. It is time served. It works. It's comfortable. It's rubberized. It doesn't feel hard. It's not too bulbous, so it fits both a small-handed person and a large-handed person. And being ambidextrous, it's good for both left hands and right hands. So there's nothing to fall out with there. And then going forward, the trigger, well, that's a blade on post, and that's adjustable for height and also for alignment. So you can swivel that blade for your perfect finger alignment. You know, that's great. And then the cocking lever, you know, it's easy to grab. It's spring loaded, so it just pops out, and it's easy to, you know, to cock. And then with regards to that adjustability, you do have a power adjuster here, so you can knock that power level down if you want to. So, you know, you take it down to a little bit of garden plinking, or you go to the full power, which obviously this is sub 12 foot-pound, and it's running at about 11.4 foot-pound with that regulator, sorry, with that power adjuster right up there. And I don't think really it's worth messing about with, just keep it there. With regards to other elements of design, so on top of the aluminium frame we have a dual Picatinny cum dovetail rail that will suit both 11mm and 22mm scope mounts. Fantastic. Again, it's giving the user the ability to chop and change scopes, and if they can't remember which mount they've actually got on their scope, well, it will accommodate it anyway, so there's no real worry. And this long 230mm weaver rail at the bottom, well, again, that gives the user the ability to position the bipod or whatever other accessories that they've got wherever they like, and that can affect, you know, the center of gravity of the rifle as well. It's actually its stability, but it gives them the ability to do it. It's not preset. So that's really, really good. Another brilliant feature of this rifle is the fact that you can unscrew the bottle and replace it in the field with another spare bottle. And because there is a valve fitted within that, there's no air loss. So you're running from the 500cc bottle that you've got here to 1000 cc's of air. And that, as I've said earlier, is a lot of air. So has the rifle been designed with the end user in mind? Absolutely. Even down to the camouflage finish. You know, yes, you can get it in all black, but with a camo finish to it, well, obviously the manufacturer has looked with the years of experience that they have at the shooting scene, at those shooters that are in the field, and they thought, well, actually, you know, let's help him out, let's give him a camo pattern. So it's all there, it's all in a neat package. It is a little bit long, but that aids in its accuracy, and with regards to weight, it's not that heavy, so yeah, you can carry around a rifle like this for a long time and not get particularly tired. So yeah, with regards to ergonomics, I think 4 out of 5 stars is apt, it's right. So contrary to what I've just said in the ergonomics section of this review, with regards to a pattern of 4 out of 5 stars across the board, I've actually looked at the handling part and thought I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars instead. The reason for that is that it is quite a long rifle. You know, from 102 centimeters to 110 centimeters in length, and it is 3.4 kilograms unscoped. For me, again, that's not an issue, but for smaller individuals, they might find it a little bit heavy. In the field, that's an issue. As a bench rest, actually, you know, it adds to the stability. So I'm not gonna kind of bang on about it. It points well, it shoulders well, and you have that adjustability in the stock to be able to make it just right. But it is a bit long, it is a bit heavy. It's also actually, in all honesty, cold to the touch because it's an aluminium come steel frame. So, you know, when you're out there and you're holding the bottle or you're holding the rail, it does feel a little bit cold. But I think maybe I'm being a little bit too picky on that. However, 3.5 out of 5 stars, I think it's right. And also, again, with regards to handling, I do, and this is probably me, but I do feel that the barrel, being free floating without any form of a cage around it, is vulnerable to knocks. And I have had experience of tumbling in the field, of trying to climb over a fence, and basically my foot gave way on a bank and I slipped. I actually ended up breaking 3 ribs or cracking 3 ribs in the process, and I tumbled with my gun. Now that was a shotgun, and that didn't kind of come to any harm. But I do feel that if I had something like this over my shoulder, then I would be very, very worried about how it actually survived the tumble. I've never kind of taken these guns to destruction. I don't know how much force can be applied, or sideward force can be applied on the barrels. I would imagine not a lot. So from a vulnerability point of view, yeah, I do think that the 3.5 out of 5 stars is apt. And I do think that, you know, maybe with regards to the accessories side, Kral could possibly come up with a frame that would, a lightweight but strong frame that would encase the barrel. And I know people say that the shroud helps to stiffen it up, I get that, but it's still not a very robust material, and it does rely on it being sort of clamped in with the screw cap at the end. So that's my thoughts. Yeah, and I'm going to stick with that. So loading a rifle is a very simple case of getting your mag, rotating the face in a clockwise direction until it comes to a stop, putting your finger behind the hole so it doesn't actually, when you feed the pellet in, it doesn't drop out. Pop the pellet in. Hang on a sec. There we go. And then it's locked in place. So now you can simply add pellet on pellet, keep feeding it in, rotating that face until you've got all the pellets fed into the mag. Yeah, easy. And then once you've done that, simply pull back the cocking lever until it clicks, and you feed the mag in with the round face first from the right hand side. And the magazine has a very handy little counter there so that you can tell how many shots you've got left in the mag when you're out shooting. That's quite handy because occasionally you can lose count with these. Now, being a .25 caliber, it's only got 10 shots. Something to bear in mind if you use to maybe a 12 or 14 shot .22 or anything up to 17 shot in .177. So you'll need to reload this more often. And the nice thing about this, again, like I've said previously, is the loading port is quite wide. So if you have a single shot tray, you can simply drop it in, and you know, if you've got bigger hands, that pellet will roll into that shot tray easily. The indexing of the pellets from the magazine, I have not had any issues with this rifle at all. On other makes of rifles using a similar type of magazine, I've already said I'm not particularly keen on them because they do have indexing issues. Not sure why, and it is almost like a luck of the draw. You know, you'll get some magazines that work perfectly well, and then you'll get some magazines that when you use the probe to push the pellet past the magazine into the breech of the barrel, because it's slightly off center, it can distort the skirt of the pellet and it will send that pellet askew when it's been shot. So I don't particularly like these mags. However, in the .25 caliber, the materials used to construct the magazine are thicker, so they're stronger, more robust, and I think that helps with pellet alignment. And the fact that the pellet is heavier, is more robust, allows it to keep its shape as well when that probe pushes it into the breech of the barrel. So with regards to loading it, it's easy. It's you know, it'd be nice if the magazine was bigger. Any other issues? No. Actually charging up the bottles, well, that's easy to do because you have, like I've already mentioned, a quick fill port that's covered by this, if I can get it off. A bit tight. There we go, this protective rubber cap. Quick release, so that's nice and easy to do. And the fact that it has interchangeable 500cc bottles also means that you have plenty of air when you're out on the field. So yeah, not a lot more to say, except I've given it a rating of 4 out of 5 stars. Do I think that's right? Yeah. Has it caused me any issues? No. So why would I really want to drop it any less than that? So let's talk about safety. Right, I've given the rifle 4 out of 5 stars, and there is a point that I really want to make, and it's a personal opinion, and it kind of goes against the rating that I've just given it, and it's a point to do with whether a rifle should be a manual safety or an automatic safety. In my mind, being an experienced hunter, being in the presence of other hunters, walking down narrow paths in tight wooded areas, walking, you know, one after another, I'm always going to be of the opinion that a rifle or any firearm, shotgun, whatever, should have an automatic safety. I have had a tumble, I have fallen with a gun, and the safety, you know, at the end of the day was engaged, which meant that that gun did not go off. And I would hate to be in a procession of a few hunters walking down the path, knowing that the guy behind me has a weapon that is in live mode. And it is so easy to forget to engage the safety if it's not an auto safety. So that's my bugbear with these types of rifles. Saying that, I understand why target shooters find an automatic safety a pain, because they've got to disengage it each and every time they fire the rifle. And if it's in a controlled environment, such as on a range, where, you know, when you're loading the rifle, you're loading it with that barrel facing away from everybody. You might be in a speed shooting contest, you know, that you really don't want to disengage that safety all the time. But do you know what? If all rifles had automatic safeties, then everybody would have to disengage the safety, so they'd all be up against the same handicap, as it were. Safety is a real big thing, and you know, a very good friend of mine, Graham, who sadly is no longer with us, he passed away a couple of years ago, we were out on a pheasant shoot, and as hard as you try to instill safety amongst, you know, the guests, amongst the shooters, guys that are experienced shots, something is always likely to happen. Graham got shot in the lungs, and it meant that he was airlifted out of that shoot, you know. He was blowing bubbles from his chest, and he survived, but it just goes to show how easily accidents can happen. Now, going back to this rifle, going back to this 4 out of 5 star rating, the fact that the rifle itself hasn't actually presented me with any issues, and the fact that the safety mechanism, you know, there's a switch here, works perfectly fine, there are no faults with it, and it's clearly marked, so S to the rear for safe, F to the front for fire. It's quiet, it's positive, it's easily accessible, and it locks the trigger when in safe. That's all great, you know, I can't fault it. And then if we look at other safety mechanisms within the rifle, well, this has a pressure safety valve fitted to it, and although, you know, there are markings on the frame saying the maximum fill pressure is 250 bar, the recommended fill pressure is around about 200 bar, and that gives you a bit of leeway to make sure that, you know, these pressure valves can be slightly unpredictable, and they can blow at lesser pressures than the, you know, the safe working pressure, the safe 250 bar, and you don't want that to blow inadvertently, because if it does, then it's down to the gunsmith to get it replaced. So yeah, recommended fill pressure around about 200 bar. You're talking compressed air, and compressed air, you know, whenever you're dealing with it, there's always a risk of injury. So respect the fact that you're dealing with high pressure air. And, you know, when you're fitting the whip to the rifle, and you're slowly charging up the bottle so it gets to that 200 bar, remember to disengage the bleed valve on the cylinder side prior to taking off the whip, so you don't have this massive force of air coming out. Also, another good feature with this rifle, you know, we love the fact that it's got interchangeable bottles, and those bottles have valves within them, so they shouldn't lose any air. But please bear in mind, compressed air does always carry a form of risk. Okay, saying all of that, has this rifle given me any issues? No, it hasn't. Do I think it fair to knock it any more than 1 star, so it's 4 out of 5 stars? Well, that's a very high score anyway. I think there's always room for improvement. Do I think 4 out of 5 stars is apt? Yes, I do, absolutely. So there's my little kind of gripe out of the way. 4 out of 5 stars for this rifle. And please guys, maybe think about this auto safety mechanism a little bit more, and don't just go around with a rifle that is in the fire mode, because accidents do happen, people do get hurt, you know, and these aren't toys, they are weapons. Right, so let's give this rifle a score for shot count, and straight away it's going to be 4 out of 5. What can I say? It has a 500cc bottle, which is interchangeable with another 500cc bottle. And if you go onto Kral's website, their official figures for this rifle in the full FAC power version is upwards of, well, up to 350 shots per fill in .177, and in the .25 caliber, as this is, full power, they're claiming 250 shots. Now, I'm assuming that that's going to be in their optimal range of 250 bar down to 100 bar when they're doing the test. I do have my cheat sheets here. I'm sorry, I struggled to remember all of these figures. So if I just read out some facts and figures for you, that's going to help you gain a picture of how good this rifle actually is with regards to shot count. And if I go on the .25 side, because that's what this is, you might find it interesting. So using 25.4 grain pellets, which is what I've been actually shooting, the Air Arms Diablo fields, in the full power version, this rifle achieves speeds of 820 feet per second. That kicks out 52 joules or 37.93 foot-pounds of energy. Yeah, that's quite a lot. And actually, in the sub 12 foot-pound bracket, I honestly don't know how many shots this will kick out. You know, hands up, I just don't. And I'm not going to spend an absolute fortune putting pellets through the rifle for the sake of finding out. Plus, as I say, this rifle is up for sale via the theGunLocker, so it's not mine, and I don't think it would be fair to put so many pellets through, you know, a rifle which is up for sale. However, saying that, what I can tell you is that this rifle achieves speeds of 450 feet per second, which gives it a power output of 11.42 foot-pounds or 15.49 joules. Do I think that's good? Yes, I do. Is it worth the 4 out of 5 stars I'm giving it? Absolutely. And out of interest, going back to those figures that Kral have actually mentioned, and working from their website, so you know, if you want to look it up yourself, please feel free to do so. Just type in Kral on a Google search or whichever search bar you use, and their website will come up. But out of interest, the .22 version of this kicks out speeds of 900 feet per second, which equates to 44 joules. And Kral is claiming a shot count of 300 full-powered shots at .22, and at .177 is kicking out speeds of 1,100 feet per second or 30 joules of energy, and they're claiming that it can shoot 350 shots at full power. So again, that's, I'm assuming, at the optimal range of 250 bar down to 100 bar, which is the green area in the manometer, or covered by the manometer. So, you know, bear in mind that I've already said that really the recommended field pressure is 200 bar, so you're going to get less shots than that, but hey, that's still a lot of shooting. Yeah, And as pellets are getting so expensive nowadays, like I say, I don't want to go through tins of pellets just to prove a point. Yeah, so apologies for that one. But 4 out of 5 stars, do I think that's apt? Yes, I absolutely do. Right, let's talk about the trigger. So again, another 4 out of 5 stars. The reason why I say that is I haven't adjusted this trigger in any way. I've not felt the need to, and you've seen the results that I got in the accuracy test. The trigger felt perfectly comfortable. I didn't need to raise the blade up or down. I didn't need to adjust its positioning, and with regards to the sensitivity, it's fine. You know, it does what you expect a trigger to do. You've got some first stage movement, and then you've got a crisp release on the second stage. It is adjustable. What you do need to do, however, to get to that adjustment is basically take the action out of the frame, and then that will reveal some screws in which you can adjust the sensitivity. Again, like I've said, I don't own this rifle, so I don't want to mess about with it. All I can say is that when I shot it, you know, it was really quite comfortable. Now, this is in a controlled environment. The gun does not have any pellets within it, but I'm going to shoot it just so that you can, or pull the trigger, so one, you can hear it, but two, you'll be able to see the trigger movement, and you know, you can decide for yourself. So the rifle is cocked. It is in fire mode. There are no pellets in the gun. It is safe. And what I'm hoping to do is I'm going to use my left finger here just purely so that you can see the travel. So it's a nice amount, and it's quite easy, quite light, and there's a definite stop for the second stage. So first stage, second stage, you can see that movement there, and then it doesn't take much effort. I'm just going to put my hand behind it to let it go, and it's nice, crisp and precise. You know exactly when it's going to go off. I'll do that again. So it's cocked, there's nothing in the barrel, and again a little bit of movement in first stage, which is nice, it's predictable, and away she goes. No effort. Lovely trigger to use. So 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah, there's nothing to fall out with really. If you do want to fine tune it, you can. I would always recommend that you take it to a gunsmith and let them play around with that for you, because as with any rifle, when you start delving into the realms of fine tuning triggers, if it is set too light, then it becomes unpredictable. So yeah, good trigger, 4 out of 5. Right, let's talk value for money. Do I think this rifle is good value for money? Well, the 4 out of 5 stars that I've given it suggests that I do. And as I said, it's for sale via the theGunLocker at Stafford, and this is the price tag, £675. Now, that's for the rifle. It doesn't include the scope. This is my scope. The mounts, they're my mounts, and the bipod, that's my bipod. So you're talking about the base rifle. But in that price, you have the rifle, you have 2 500cc bottles, you have 2 rotary magazines, you have 1 single shot tray, you have the quick fill quick release connector that you can screw onto your whip. What else do you get? An owner's manual, you'll get a couple of spare O-rings, and you'll get this lovely swing that round case to put it all in. So do I think, excuse me, do I think it's worth £675? Yes, I do. Am I jealous of the person that's going to buy this rifle? Yes, I am. And unfortunately, you know, if I could afford it, I would buy it for sure. Yeah, I would. But you know, that's the thing when you've got the ability to review rifles. I'm sure there's going to be loads of guns coming up that I'm going to want to buy, and I do have to restrain myself. Otherwise, my darling wife, I think she'll have something serious to say to me. So, yeah, whoever buys this rifle, I think you're going to enjoy it. I really do. It's a great rifle. It's extremely accurate. It's fun to shoot. It's a .25 caliber, and yeah, it does. You know, it's not as fast as a 22 or the .177, but what it loses in speed, it more than makes up for in accuracy. It's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, whoever buys it, I really do hope you enjoy it, because it is a fantastic gun to shoot. I said that I would take it out a couple of more times before I return it to the AA gun locker. I don't think that's fair. You know, I've reviewed the rifle. It is going to go back to them. I'm not going to shoot it anymore. So whoever buys it, please don't think that, you know, I'm abusing it. I'm not. Although I'd dearly love to. So yeah, £675 from the AA gun locker at Stafford. Give them a call. You'll get a link to their website in the description below, and talk to them about it. Right, so I've come to the end of this review. Another epic feature-length review. I kind of laugh because people are telling me, you know, try and keep it short, and I do, I honestly do, but there's so much to talk about these rifles. If they're problematic, you know, these reviews get longer because there's more to talk about. If they're an exceptional gun, well, they get longer because there's more to talk about. And this is a lovely gun, so, you know, I have had a fair bit to say. I'm sorry if I've bored you to tears, you know, but in the description below you will find timestamps so you can jump to different sections if you want to quite easily. But yeah, just to sum up, an overall score of 40 out of 50, so it's beaten the HW77K, 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's well deserved, and as I said in the value for money part, whoever buys this rifle, well, I hope you enjoy it because it's a brilliant bit of kit. So yeah, that's it for now. Obviously, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. It helps the channel. If you like what you've seen, press the thumbs up. That's always going to help. And of course, share amongst your friends and family. Let them know about the Gun Locker. Pop over to our website www.thegunlocker.uk and you'll see this rifle for sale on there. You'll see AA Gun Locker's details on that site as well as other dealers. And if you've got a rifle of your own that you want to sell or you're looking to buy, well, you know, you've got the platform there to be able to do it. So until the next one, take care, and yeah, see you soon.